Today, we're exploring the web series IC-814, a gripping retelling of one of India's most harrowing hijacking incidents, a story of fear, diplomacy, and unshakable human courage. On the evening of December 24, 1999, Indian Airlines Flight IC-814 took off from Kathmandu, Nepal, heading for New Delhi. The aircraft carried 178 people, families returning from vacation, business travelers, and citizens heading home for the holidays. In command was Captain Ajay Verma, a veteran pilot known for his calm presence and leadership in the skies. Like every day, he was focused on one goal, getting his passengers home safely. But less than an hour into the flight, everything changed. A group of armed men stormed the cabin and took control of the plane. The hijackers were organized, well-trained, and heavily armed. Panic spread instantly, and fear settled over the cabin like a shadow. Their leader, Masood Azhar, was already known to intelligence agencies, a man linked to several violent operations in the past. This wasn't just a hijacking. It was a mission with deep political stakes. The plane was first diverted to Lahore, then to Amritsar, and eventually to Kandahar in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. With each move, the danger escalated, and so did the uncertainty. Inside the plane, the passengers were ordered to remain silent, to stay still, and to obey. Anyone who didn't was threatened. The hijackers made their demands clear. The Indian government must release 3 jailed militants, or the consequences would be deadly. Women and children were particularly vulnerable. Several passengers were singled out, especially those who appeared influential, those with foreign currency, or those suspected of holding official documents. But amid the fear, something else began to emerge: resilience. Captain Verma and his crew held their ground. Despite the constant threat of violence, they worked quietly to calm the passengers, monitor the situation, and avoid provoking their captors. Their courage became a silent anchor for those on board. Back in India, news of the hijacking shook the nation. The government faced a near-impossible decision. Top officials, negotiators, intelligence experts, and military leaders gathered to assess the options, each one carrying massive risk. The hijackers refused to back down. As the hours turned to days, they increased pressure by injuring hostages and threatening more drastic measures. For the families waiting back home, each moment felt endless. For those inside the plane, every sound, every movement could mean life or death. Eventually, under mounting pressure and with passenger lives hanging in the balance, the Indian government made a painful choice. To protect the innocent, they agreed to release the 3 demanded prisoners. On the ground, every step of the exchange was tightly controlled. Security forces coordinated with international teams to avoid further loss of life. Once the prisoners were handed over, the plane was finally cleared to return. A carefully planned evacuation was executed. The passengers, shaken but alive, were brought home safely. The hijacking of IC-814 left deep scars. It revealed serious gaps in global security cooperation and led to major changes in India's counter-terrorism strategy. Security at airports was overhauled. Response systems were streamlined. Intelligence agencies began working more closely than ever to prevent such crises from repeating. But beyond politics and security, the story also showed something deeply human: the power of unity in fear and the quiet heroism that can emerge in the darkest moments. IC-814 brings these moments to life. It's not just a series about an incident. It's about people who refused to give up, about leaders who stayed calm when it mattered most, and about a nation forced to make decisions no country ever wants to face. At the heart of it all was Captain Ajay Verma, whose steady presence kept hope alive inside that aircraft. His courage wasn't loud, it was measured, calm, and unshakable, and that made all the difference. This story is a powerful reminder that behind every national tragedy are individuals, passengers, crew, families, whose strength shapes history. In unseen ways, and sometimes the choices of a few can save the lives of many. If you're drawn to stories of real courage, crisis, and the decisions that define us, this is one you shouldn't miss.